My name is Ron LeBlanc, and I'm the City Manager for Durango. And tonight I will be presenting the budget workshop for the 2018 budget. So the purpose tonight is to give an overview of the budget and to solicit ideas and thoughts and suggestions. And then we'll have some time for questions after the presentation. I have a series of slides to go through that hopefully will not only orient those of you who are here in the council chamber, but those who will be watching as this program is repeated on Durango Gov TV. So the budget process really starts tonight, where we're looking at input from the public. This public workshop is something we do that is in addition to our statutory and charter requirements. From tonight, the department directors will be preparing their individual budgets, and I will present the city manager's recommended budget to the city council. Right now we're targeting the third Tuesday of September. Then the city council goes through a series of meetings reviewing that recommendation and finally adopts the budget on December the 5th. So we have some essential features in the budget process, and tonight let me just review a few of those. We want to incorporate a long-term perspective. The city has to take a long view in how we spend money, and that is a combination of what we invest in terms of capital improvements, how we maintain those capital improvements, and then our day-to-day operations. And critical to all of that is the council goal-setting process. Council goals were adopted last week following a council retreat that took place in May. We're also defining expectations for service delivery. There are things that we can do with our staff that we have to set some parameters and find a balance among all the various city services. So the council budget is based on the council goals, and we basically have 4 major goals, and then within each goal there are 3 objectives. And in the budget process, the department heads will propose actions that speak to the goal and to the objective. So as we account for every dollar in the budget, we are addressing, each of the council goals. So with respect to city facilities, in 2015, we completed a master plan of city facilities, and these were 7 facilities in the general fund. So that resulted in a total of $82 million being identified in facility needs in the general fund. And that includes about $19 million for a new police station. The police station is right across the street from City Hall. It originally was a fire station, and it really is our most embarrassing facility. We also look at our infrastructure as part of our capital improvement plan, or CIP, and in the 2008 process, we've already started reviewing the capital improvements. We have in the general fund 1.7 million identified in capital projects, but the requests that have come in from departments is about 3.6 million. That is just general fund capital projects. We also have additionally our enterprise funds, water, sewer, airport, and transit that have capital needs also. Service delivery depends on how efficient and effective we are, and the budget process is our opportunity to evaluate how we've used money in the past and how we propose to use money in 2018. So we have to demonstrate how effective these services are. And that particular photo with the trolley, I would take this opportunity to point out that most of our transportation services, and that would be streets, airport, and transit, all depend on federal subsidies. The most threatened of those is transit. We've been told by the state that we're going to be cut severely in the next 5 years, so we have to figure that out to maintain transit in the future. So where does the money come from and where does the money go? And in the general fund, most of our money comes from sales tax. The city has a 3% sales tax, and we have a total general fund of about $37.7 million. We have other taxes, which includes a variety of other items. Property tax is only 3.7% of the total general fund, and that is $1.3 million. Franchise fees, a little less than that. That would be the utilities that are in the city, not city utilities. So where does it go? General government has about 20%, and that would be items like city council, city manager, finance, city clerk, and so forth. Public safety is the police department plus our dispatch center, and we have a contract with the Durango Fire Protection District. That's about $3 million a year. So public safety is about a third of our budget. Parks and Rec is 18%. That is an unusually large amount, but that reflects what the voters have approved in past years. We have 2 half-cent taxes that are dedicated in portion to Parks and Rec, trails, and open space. The library is at 6%, and community support, those are the agencies, the social service and community agencies that we provide funding to. This graphic is a depiction of all the services that we provide. It's very cleverly done. I would thank our Public Information Office for putting this together. There are a lot of little factoids in those bullets, which I hope I can talk long enough to leave this slide on TV so that the viewing audience can read it. For example, there were 41,000 calls for service in the police department. We picked up 25,000 cubic yards of trash that was delivered to the landfill. 373,000 passengers went through DRO, our airport. We treated 750 million gallons of wastewater. We diverted 3,953 tons of recyclable materials, and I can go on and on and on. So how is the budget organized? In an accounting system, there are different types of funds. The general fund is our primary fund that takes care of governmental functions. And for the purpose of this explanation, a governmental function are those things like streets, police, city clerk. These are not money-making enterprises. And in contrast, we have enterprise funds, and they are run like a business. So the fees and charges and grants that come into those funds are the revenues that support the activities of those funds. And we have 5 enterprise funds, and they are water, sewer, airport, sustainable services, and transportation services. The special revenue funds are funds that are revenue that can only be used for a certain purpose. So the 2015 sales tax is an example of a special revenue fund. When the voters approved that tax, they extended the tax, which was first approved in 1999. They extended it for another 20 years, and they specified what that tax can be used for. We also have the Durango Tourism Fund. So if someone comes to Durango and stays in a hotel or a motel or a property, they pay 2% lodger's tax, and that is what goes into the tourism fund, and that can only be used for certain items. And as an accounting tool, we have internal service funds. One is for vehicle replacement, and the other is for risk management. With the vehicle replacement, every department that has a vehicle or a piece of equipment pays a rent to this fund, that money is reserved for when the useful life of that vehicle is completed. The money is laying in that fund, waiting for a replacement. Risk management is something similar. All of our safety programs and our insurance programs are in a fund. So there's an incentive for a department or division to perform. So the fewer accidents they have, the lower their insurance premium will be as it's allocated by fund. So on the enterprise funds, the income coming in can be from fees, charges, and grants. And the challenge here is grants are diminishing overall. There are fewer grants available. We charge people for certain services that we provide to them. And then we charge a monthly fee in most cases for water, sewer, and the like. So the user is paying for what they use. And if you look at the different types of funds compared to our total budget's about 80 million. The general fund is about 47% of the total. Enterprise funds account for a third. Internal service funds, 12%, and special revenue funds, 8%. So dissecting the city's general fund, the overwhelming source of revenue is the city sales tax. The good news is the sales tax is paid by people who come to the city, so residents of the city aren't paying the entire amount. The bad news is it makes us more susceptible to variances in the economy. So when the economy is going strong, sales tax is up. When the economy is not, then sales tax is down. So we try to use sales taxes by using the term elastic revenue. They fund items in the budget that can be constricted or expanded depending on the economy for that particular year. And I would point out at the very bottom of that column is property tax at 5%. The property tax rate, known as the mill rate, has not changed since 1982. So currently it's 2.50 mills, 2.507 mills, and that was the same tax that Bob Ledger had when he came to Durango way back when. So a basic concept with revenues is as follows. It's the tax base times the tax rate. Base times rate equals the revenue. So if we're talking about a property tax, the base is, let's say, your house. The value of your house times the mill rate is what you pay to the city. If we're talking about sales tax, it's the loaf of bread or the shirt you're buying times the rate, which is 3% for city tax. That equals how much revenue we get from that transaction. So there are two ways we can increase revenues. One, you increase the base. So if we had more retail, theoretically we get more revenue. Or you can increase the rate. Anytime you increase the rate, a vote of the people is required. And that's because of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. So these two charts give you a history of sales tax. So the chart on the left shows by month what the change has been between 2016 and 2017. So every month I report to the City Council how the sales tax by month compares to the preceding year. And we're noticing a change because we're seeing some erratic behavior in terms of retail. Our sales tax projection was 3.2%. We're only realizing about 1.7%. And there's a lot of theory about what's causing that. One way of looking at it is internet sales are taking a bigger and bigger bite out of the local economy. Another way of looking at it is the disposable income in the region has shrunk. The city of Farmington has actually lost population. I think they've lost between 8,000 and 10,000 people over the last 2 years. So those people aren't here. They're not coming to Durango. They're not buying articles from stores. They're not purchasing meals. So that tax disposable income has shrunk. So the chart on the right shows a comparison year to year for 4 years of how monthly sales have varied. And you can see from that chart, and I don't expect you're able to read all the numbers, we have 2 peaks in our year. We have a winter peak. There are people that come to town in December, ski, December and January. And then there are people who come in the summer. Our summer peak is longer than the winter peak. So here's what happened. In 2009, we cut back city significantly. We cut 37 positions because during the Great Recession, our sales tax plummeted, and because it's an elastic revenue, we had to cut operations to balance the budget. Since 2009, we have been very smart in how we add positions and programs back into the general fund. And those positions that were lost in 2009 are not the positions, job classifications, that we replaced as we go along. So every year since 2009, we have steadily built back up, and our economy has recovered. Now in 2017, we don't have all those figures in yet. We have the first 5 months, and as I mentioned, we're not doing the amount of sales tax activity that we thought we would. So we're a little bit behind in sales tax. And that's what's shown on this chart. The 2 colors, 16s in red, and that bluish color is the current. We started off the year doing well. We were up above in January, and then we're pretty much head-to-head going through June. But you can see the bigger months are up ahead, and we're always a month behind in how we know our numbers. So August starts next Tuesday. It'll be August the 10th before we know how July was. And I see a lot of people downtown, and when I look at the lodger's tax is up around 14% for the year. So what this tells me is people are coming to town, and the lodgers are getting 14% more business, but the people who come to town may not be purchasing in the same manner that happened in previous years. And coupled with internet sales, I'm not sure there's enough time remaining August through December to catch up and make up for that deficit. So if we break down where the revenue is coming from, there's a couple of things here that are interesting. Grocery and drug component, we're seeing that grocery stores are flat. There's not a lot of increase. In fact, there's no significant increase whatsoever in grocery store revenue. So that's a little disturbing because that reflects the people that live here. So that's flat. And we don't have a lot of retail, so department stores, that would include Walmart, Home Depot, the Durango Mall. It's not a big number, and if you went to some of the Front Range communities that had a mall, that number would be more like 45%. Retail marijuana is 3% of the total pie, and that equals what we get from liquor stores. So here's what happens when you make a $100 purchase within the city limits. So if you're downtown and you go up to the counter and all your purchases total $100, you're going to pay $7.90 in tax. $2.90 goes to the state of Colorado. $5 stays local. And that $5 would go as follows. $1.78 goes to a countywide shared sales tax. 22 cents goes to the joint sales tax, and that's split between the county and the city. And then $3 goes to the city. And that $3, 50 cents goes to a Parks and Recreation Fund, and the other 50 cents goes to Parks, Trail, Open Space, multimodals in there, and then the last $2 of the city tax goes to the general fund. So how does that shake out when you go drill it down a little bit? So the countywide shared sales tax would give, on a $100 purchase, would provide 8 cents to Bayfield, 7 cents to Ignacio, 36 cents to Durango, and $1.27 to La Plata County. The joint sales tax, 22 cents goes to the public library. No, excuse me. The joint sales tax would be 22 cents, and that's split between the public library and the senior center. The public library gets 82% of that 22 cents, and the senior center gets 18%, and the city's $3. So the shared sales tax, La Plata County takes their share first, and Ignacio, Bayfield, and Durango get a portion based on population. And then the joint sales tax is just split between the city and the county. Whoops. We'll do this backwards. I got everybody on the edge of their seat. All right, so if you know anybody, or if you live in Ignacio or Bayfield, those communities receive more money from sales occurring in Durango than they do from sales occurring in those communities. In other words, the joint sales tax provides them more money than they get within their city limits. And the county as a whole, about 77% of the sales tax base is within the city limits. So as we grow retail in the city, that will benefit Ignacio and Bayfield, as well as La Plata County. So here's what's coming up. On the week of September 11th through 15, there's Cities and Towns Week. We're planning a different event every day, and the purpose will be to solicit more interaction and engagement with the community. I will be giving the City Council the budget the following Tuesday, if everything goes according to schedule, and hopefully the information they're collecting from the public during Cities and Towns Week will allow the council to make some good decisions on how the money is spent. October and November, the City Council will be reviewing everything in the budget. They go through virtually every line item. We do the lion's share of that in a budget retreat. It's a day-long event. November 7 is the public hearing on the proposed budget. And December 5 is when the budget must be adopted. We have to certify the mill rate to the county by December 10th, I believe. So, how can you provide input? The people who are here tonight are going to provide input. But for those of you who are seeing this on TV, you can send comments to the city manager. You can call, send an email. You can send it to the mayor and council. You can call, you can send an email. We would like to have your comments by August the 7th, and the reason for that is as departments put their budgets together, it's easier for them to make those changes before I submit it to the council. Once it's submitted to the council, it has to be balanced, and so if the council makes changes, if they want to add something, they're going to take something away. So it has more impact if you get those comments by August the 7th. And you can attend the public hearing on November 7th, so the council can have your input before they make their final decision.